Greetings everyone, welcome to a new episode of Mr. BioinformatX. Our episode today starts with Simone. In 1997, a little girl named Simone. She was born in Columbus, Ohio. She had a lot of energy and was always curious, but she couldn't sit still. Her mind was always busy, and it was hard for her to focus in school. We've all had trouble focusing in school, right? But it wasn't just like us. We were just focusing for the lunch bell to ring so we could dig into our sandwiches. Her teacher saw this and called her mom. Hello, your daughter is smart, but she's having a trouble because she gets distracted. So her mom took Simone to the doctor. The doctor told her mom, Simone has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is ADHD. Medicine and routine helped Simone feel better, but she still needed a way to use up her extra energy. Now look at this poor generation, Gen Z. They drink energy drinks, and it doesn't seem to do anything. After everything they have been through, economic crisis, wars, COVID-19, monkeypox, and even HMPV, it's no wonder they're a little out of energy. During a school trip to gymnastics, something special happened. Simone joined in, flipping and jumping with ease. A coach noticed her talent and gave her parents a note. Your daughter is very special. Please sign up for gymnastics. Thanks God her parents didn't think the coach was just looking for a way to make money off her enrolling. That moment it changed everything for her. Gymnastics helped her focus and give her discipline. Her ability to focus helped her to do gymnastics with power and skill. Simone became the most decorated gymnast in history, winning 7 Olympic medals and 25 world championship medals. Here I'm talking about Simone Biles. She didn't just win. She inspired millions by showing that challenges can turn into strengths. How did she win all of these medals? Dr. Edward Hallowell and Dr. John Ratey, in their book Driven to Distraction, explain how ADHD is often misunderstood. People with ADHD are creative and energetic, but can struggle in school or work because of their attention and impulsivity issues. With the right support, ADHD can become a strength and lead to great success. Not only Simone, but others like Michael Phelps, one of the greatest Olympians, had struggles when they were young. Michael had ADHD, which made it hard for him to sit still and focus in school. His teachers were worried, and doctors said that he might have trouble concentrating. His mom, Debbie Phelps, didn't let this stop him. When Michael was 7, she introduced him to swimming. As he grew older and older, Michael's strong focus and hard work helped him become a champion, winning about 28 Olympic medals, 23 of them gold. From these stories, we should learn that ADHD is not a barrier. Every child, regardless of their challenges, has something unique about them. These differences don't mean they are lesser. Sometimes they can even exceed the skills of children who don't have ADHD. So did you ever wonder what actually causes ADHD? Why your cousin has ADHD and you don't? Mama, ADHD is not something good. I always tell you, don't compare yourself with others. On 23rd of May 2024, an article titled The Influence Prenatal Environmental Factors on the Risk and Development of ADHD. The article points out that ADHD affects about 5% of children and 2.5% of adults worldwide, and it can impact many parts of life. Genetics are a big factor, making up 70 to 80% of ADHD cases. But the study shows that things like mother's diet, alcohol, pollution, stress, and inflammation during pregnancy can affect how a baby's brain develops. So mama, remember when you compared me with my cousin? It's now your fault. Look at my cousin's mother. Not only that, but also smoking. In June 2003, in the American Journal of Psychiatry, an article was published titled Maternal Lifestyle Factors in Pregnancy Risk of Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. The article shows the relationship between the prenatal exposure to substances like nicotine and the risk of developing ADHD or related behavioral problems in childhood. From 1973 to 2022, studies studies found that maternal smoking during pregnancy was linked to a higher risk of ADHD and related disorders in children. When a mother smokes, drinks alcohol, or uses drugs or medications during pregnancy, harmful substance can affect the developing fetus or baby. But how can these substances harm the baby? These substances can interfere with the development of the fetus brain, particularly for the areas responsible for attention, impulse control, and executive function. For example, nicotine can block blood flow to the placenta, which means the baby doesn't get enough oxygen and nutrients, and this harms the brain development. Alcohol can cause fatal alcohol syndrome, which directly damages brain structure. This early brain disruption can cause abnormalities in the dopamine system. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that plays a major role in attention and reward, and the development of key brain structures like the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for impulse control, planning, and focus. Mr. Bioinformatics, little by little, we are not fully understood. Look, my dear, dopamine is very important for attention, motivation, learning, and processing rewards. Dopamine is like the Wi-Fi connection for your brain. It helps different areas of your brain communicate with each other, just like how your phone needs a strong Wi-Fi signal to load websites or send messages. So if the dopamine is low, it's like having weak or no internet connection, making things like focus and motivation much harder. So dopamine helps areas that control attention, motivation, and behavior. In ADHD, the brain has trouble regulating dopamine, which affect how these areas work. Someone might ask, Mr. Bioinformatics, which areas of the brain are affected by decreased dopamine in ADHD? Look, my dear, dopamine's levels are often lower in several areas in the brain in ADHD, particularly the prefrontal cortex, or PFC, which is responsible for organization, planning, and impulse control. Within the PFC, the orbitofrontal cortex, or OFC, helps with decision-making, reward evaluation, and emotion regulation. For example, this brain scan compares dopamine activity in a normal brain, which is on the left, and a brain with ADHD on the right. Colors in the normal brain indicates higher dopamine production, while the ADHD brain shows lower dopamine activity. Dopamine deficiency in OFC can result in impulsivity, poor decision-making, and emotional difficulties, making it harder to consider long-term consequences. Mr. Bioinformatics, what do we mean by saying long-term consequences? My dear viewer, long-term consequences refers to the ability to think ahead and evaluate potential outcomes of a decision or action over time, rather than focusing only on immediate or short-term results. For example, if a person decides to skip studying for an exam, they might enjoy more free time in short term, but they might face poor grades or stress later on. Now, sure, many of us here have ADHD. As you sow, shall you reap. Not only dopamine levels, but some brain regions in individuals with ADHD, like the prefrontal cortex, basal ganglia, putamen, caudate nucleus, and cerebellum, tend to be smaller in size compared to individuals without ADHD. These structural differences can contribute to difficulties with attention, motor control, and executive functions, like planning, organizing, and focusing. My dear viewer, actually, I don't know how to tell you this. Who loves the smell of petrol? In the early 1900s, engineers wanted to stop the noise that engines made when the fuel ignited too early. In 1922, an American engineer named Thomas Midgley, he added a chemical called tetraethyl lead to the petrol to make engines run better. By the end of 1900s, it's estimated that about 140,000 tons of lead were released into the air in the United Kingdom alone. However, the toxins in leaded fuel have lasting effects. Lead exposure can mess with the brain development, especially in the areas that control attention and impulse control, making ADHD symptoms worse. Now, no wonder why your decisions sometimes seems off. Who knows, you might have inhaled 10 gallons of lead when you were a child. But thanks God, in July 2021, the world officially stopped using leaded fuel. According to the United Nations, almost 100 years after it was introduced. 100 years of breathing in lead. What a fast response. 1 second, I will open the door. Someone might ask, Mr. Bioinformatics, how does ADHD affect people as they get older? Does it only cause challenges in childhood, or does it continue to impact their adult lives, especially when it comes to relationships with partners? Well, as these children grow older and begin to experience relationships and marriage, ADHD continues to affect them. Can you imagine, my dear viewer, there are even websites dedicated to ADHD in marriage. For example, Melissa Orlov, the founder of adhdmarriage.com, in her book The ADHD Effect on Marriage: Understand and Rebuild Your Relationship in 6 Steps, she explains how ADHD-related behaviors like forgetfulness, impulsivity, and distractibility can lead to misunderstanding and frustrations in marriage. For example, forgetting important dates, tasks, or promises can cause serious tension. Here is a great excuse for you. My dear viewer, if your girlfriend gets upset because you forgot her birthday, it's not my fault, blame my ADHD. Partners with ADHD might sometimes feel ignored, unimportant, or upset, which can cause frustration and emotional tiredness. But people with ADHD also bring creativity, energy, and fun, making relationship exciting and lively. Partners might also become more understanding and caring as they learn to appreciate qualities like enthusiasm and thinking in new ways, which are often stronger in people with ADHD. But what about the everyday challenges like shopping or paying bills? On 9th of January 2019, a study published titled Functioning Impairments Among Adults with ADHD, a comparison with adults with other psychiatric disorders and links to executive deficits. The study highlighted how adults with ADHD often experience significant disorganization in managing household chores. Tasks like laundry, grocery shopping, and paying bills are more likely to be delayed or forgotten compared to non-ADHD adults. Moreover, ADHD adults frequently face challenges in social situations, such as interrupting others, struggling to stay on topic, or appearing disengaged during conversations. It's amazing how people with ADHD manage everyday life. Even though they face challenges like staying organized and handling tasks, they often show great strength, creativity, and flexibility. They have a natural ability to think in new ways, and their energy and excitement can be contagious. If you have someone with ADHD in your life, make sure to remind them just how amazing they are. Encourage them and let them know how much you admire their determination and unique way of thinking. And if needed, encourage seeking medical help and professional support, as the right treatment can make a big difference in their journey. And remember Michael Phelps and Simone Biles. And here we've reached the end of our episode. Thanks for watching. See you next time.